everybody, and welcome to another episode of Andrew Discusses, the video series where I pretty much just talk about shit. That's the general gist of it. Plus, I have to swear a little bit in this one because today I want to talk about the Loud House special that recently premiered. It was the kickoff of season 5. It was called Schooled, and I want to say the following phrase: any show on Nickelodeon, like I've said before, that can go toe to toe with SpongeBob and come out smiling on the other end gets my full support. And the Loud House has my support. I don't see what people hate about this thing. I really don't. I mean, this thing looks freaking amazing. At least from what I've seen of it. And I did actually get to see the whole episode before somebody asked. Somebody did put it up on YouTube, and I was able to watch it. So thank you to the anonymous person. YouTube will find you anyway, so I'm not going to say your name here. But thank you very much for putting the episode up so a lot of us could see it. It was very well worth it because I don't have cable, and Nickelodeon's app is a pain in the ass to navigate. I've actually looked into it. So, the episode is really cool. Basically, Lincoln's starting middle school. Lori's going off to college. The family's adjusting. Lily, the youngest, is starting preschool, but she doesn't want to go to preschool. She wants to be home all the time because she's used to it. And I will admit I'm kind of used to being home all the time too, but unfortunately, job, work, and everything else, you need to pay the bills, and YouTube doesn't pay me, so I need some type of income. But yeah, so the episode's really good, and I want to talk about it from like the standpoint of I know where they're coming from. With this is hitting like multiple tropes here. You have the people that don't really want to go. They are terrified about starting a new part of their life. When you're first starting school, you don't really want to go. I mean, for years, you basically got to sit at home and do nothing. If you went to preschool, okay, then you didn't get to sit at home all the time. But if you're like me and didn't go to preschool, you got to enjoy what I like to call, I get to stay home all the damn time, watch TV, snack on something if I want. I can do whatever I want. I'm at home. And unfortunately, when you go to school and you have to start school, it's structure, rules, regulations, all of which you have to follow. It's like I've said so many times, it's a prison. It is what you make of it, but it's a prison, basically. And with starting any school, it's a pain in the ass. I mean, you're starting elementary school, you're nervous. You don't really want to be there. I remember crying like my first couple days in first grade. And that's because I went to like half-day kindergarten, and when I got done, it's like 12 o'clock. I got to go home. I had the whole afternoon to me. I go to first grade, and it's like, oh no, first grade's the whole day. You have to stay here till like 3 o'clock. I don't wanna. I wanna go home. I miss my mom. Yeah, because I just didn't want to be there. And occasionally the teacher would get pissed off and annoyed, and I had to suck it up and just deal with it because apparently school is a rite of passage. It's a 6-hour prison that you're stuck and forced to go to regardless. It's why I am so for the virtual schoolings. So for them. But I digress. So with this one, you have Lily starting preschool, you have Lincoln starting middle school, and Lori going off to college. And I think Lori's is the one that kind of hit the most to me, as well as Lincoln's. Because when Lincoln went off to middle school, it's sort of, I want to say, mirrored my own experiences to go into middle school. Because for me, middle school was 7th and 8th grade. Where I went. It wasn't 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, like I'm assuming it is for Lincoln, or 6th, 7th, and 8th. I don't know how he's doing it. But that's how it is, like, for different people. It varies. Like, one group, it could be 6th, 7th, and 8th, and I know that's what it is now in the school district that I went to, but when I was going through the district, it was just 7th and 8th grade. That was considered middle school. Now it's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade is considered middle school. Good luck to that. So it kind of mirrored me because going from elementary school to middle school is a massive jump. I mean, you have lockers now versus you just hang your stuff in the classroom. You have lockers, at least for where I went. So I'm like mirroring my own experiences here. There's lockers now. There's a bell that will ring every time you have to be somewhere versus the teachers are just going to look at a clock and go, okay, nope, you're good. Come back to class. Okay, time to go to your next class. You have a bell that's going to tell you. You have to go all over the school to get to your class. One class could be here, one class could be halfway across the school, so on and so forth, and you have to rush to get there before the bell rings. it's a massive change. And for Lincoln, I can understand it. I mean, I do like the song though that he's saying that they'll be fine. It is actually a really good song. If you get a chance to pull it up on YouTube, I highly recommend you do so. It's really good. It's Trust Me, We'll Be Fine, or just type in We'll Be Fine Loud House School. It's a good song. It's an earworm, definitely. But I can understand his, just you figure he's the man with the plan. He's the one that always can figure out something to, win the day in the end. But when it comes to this, yeah, I kind of get the feeling that even if Lincoln would have come up with a plan from the start, he probably still would have gotten screwed at some point down the road. I mean, you have the failing to turn in the permission slip to be in the good classroom and getting shoved over into the trailer. When I went to middle school, there were two classes that were out in the trailers. There's like two different rooms, and each one shared one whole trailer, just half of said trailer. I remember in 7th grade, I had health class out in the trailer, and for the second half of my 7th grade year, I had social studies out in the trailer. And it sucks because you can't go back into the building if you have to pee or something, because there's a lock on the door. It's a key lock. You need the key card to unlock it, and your student IDs do not unlock it for obvious freaking reasons. So, of course, I wasn't a huge fan of that. The fact that you're further away from the building does kind of make it a bit of an issue. There was a phone out there. It's like an ironic thing. But as far as like communication wise, you had a bell. That was about it. I think the PA speaker was wired in out there. Don't ask me how. Even I can't figure that one out. But there's just like that whole, I don't want to be here, but yet I'm forced to be here sort of vibe when it came to middle school. And I never liked it. Then again, I'm not a fan of school to begin with. I've said it before. I will say it 1,000 times more. It is a 6-hour prison of which you can never escape. It is literally a torturous hell. You can look back on it with fond memories all you want. It's still a living hell. But when you also have to realize that this is like a massive amount of firsts, you have Lori going off to college then, and basically mirroring Lincoln moving up a grade. She's now moving out of the house in a new and unfamiliar setting, completely unfamiliar territory. And I felt the same way when I went to tech school. It's like, okay, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing here, but yet I'm just following their rules. I remember abiding by them. I remember doing everything I could to stay, as under the radar as possible, and with good reason. Because again, you will always run the risk of angering, annoying, and pissing somebody off to the point that they will basically make your life a living hell. I remember I had a really good GPA until I ended up taking a speech class, and then that killed my GPA because I did not dress for the speeches that we had to give. I refused to do that. I refused to do a couple other things, and it just dropped my GPA down because the teacher would not have it. I thought it was an asinine, arbitrary rule. At this point, I'm just about 18, if not 18 yet, and I'm just losing my mind. And keep in mind, I was at the younger end of my class, so when I say just about 18, I didn't turn 18 just yet when I had to start doing that, but I was getting close. I remember classes were just a pain in the ass. They were annoying. They were troublesome. I hated them with a passion, and they never got better. As it went on, they just got worse and worse. And I can understand with Lori's entire motif, because like nobody knows you, and anybody that's their first their first experience with you is, oh, you're a talker, you won't shut the hell up, or oh great, another person on this floor, and they don't get a chance to know you. And her basically trying to make the best of it, and I will give her credit for that. Before she broke down in tears, I will give her credit, she did do a good job. But yeah, it does get like that. I mean, when I went to tech school, I mean, granted, okay, it wasn't a college campus. No, I wasn't rich enough to go to a college campus, nor would I have really wanted to. My one friend did, and I remember he called me up to talk to me the one day, and I'm like, hey, this is really cool, and all of a sudden they're having a fire drill, and it just like blared my eardrum out, the fire alarm going off in his dorm room. And I'm like, yeah, this is fun. I just remember that so much, but I never had a dorm. I never went to a dorm style college. I went to a tech school. I could literally drive home at the end of the day and just get up the next day and go to class. I didn't have to worry about campus, dorms, stuff like that. I just got up in the morning, went to school. And I did that, and still wasn't a fan of it. I basically just traded one prison for what I'd like to say is a lesser prison. Like, basically, I went from maximum security to minimum security. Like, man, come and go. We don't care. If you want to drop out, drop the fuck out. We don't care. And that's where it stands. But when it comes to this special, this hit a lot of nodes for me. It really did. I mean, there was like a lot of memories that were being drummed up with this, and I could feel like were really being expressed. So I want to give them kudos first off for that. Second off, love the music. There was a song in there called Canada because Lincoln sadly had to go up to Canada to school after begging the principal to change his classroom, but didn't work. Although I found out there's a unique way to get kicked out of Canada, but it was kind of weird. He got thrown out of Canada at the end of the episode, and by the way, spoilers if you haven't seen it yet, because he didn't want any maple syrup on his pancakes. I'm not a fan of maple syrup. I'm honestly not. I'll eat pancakes, but I'll put like jelly and butter on them. I won't put syrup on them. I'm not a huge fan of syrup. I never really have been. So I would probably get thrown out then. But I mean, it kind of just like sped up really well, but the songs in it were really good. Well, at least the "We Got This" song was really good. I do like that. The plot of it was extremely well thought out and well made, especially Lincoln's speech to his friends like, look, we're just not going to be together for middle school. We just have to face facts. But it's fine. We'll get through this. And it just kind of echoes that you're always going to have this in the back of your mind as you advance further and further, that you're never going to be with the same group of people for the rest of your lives and, down the road. Because you always have those, even in high school, you always had like the cliques that would sit together. They're never going to be the same. You're never going to have these similar groups of people. You're not going to be with them for eternity. You're going to have to branch off and, see the world in your own view. And it's one of those weird things. I mean, my best friend from high school, he's married, 2 kids. I'm single, no kids. My 2 other friends from high school, they're married. I got nothing. My best friend from tech school is married. That just shows you how life goes. I mean, it advances depending upon how you do and what you do in life. And for me, it was basically I got dealt the raw hand in life, and I accept it at this point. I mean, I've just come to realize that I'm not going to be super successful. I'm not going to be a massive, gracious person in the world. I'm not going to be like this massive success that's going to, just pop something out and it's going to be instant, yes, we love it, give us more. That's never going to happen. And I've come to accept that. And it's sort of echoing what Lincoln was saying to his friends. It's like, look, we're going to have to, at some point, separate from each other. We know this, but we're just, they're not ready to do it yet, but they know that it's going to be coming. It's that Damocles sword that's always hanging over our heads. No matter what we want to do in life, our friends will always be there, but we won't always be with them there. They'll be with us more in spirit than in physical proximity. And that's something that I think the episode and the special did really well versus not touching it that way. They did a really, really good job doing that versus just not doing it. Just basically throwing it to the wayside and saying, nah, this, we don't want to, have a really sappy story. They did a damn good job of it, and I really got to give them credit for that. Because they could have just sugarcoated the episode. They could have made it a half-assed episode, but they didn't. It was a nice hour-long special. It started off season 5 really well. I love it. It hit a lot of chords with me, and I gotta give kudos where kudos is due. I will not deny that. I liked the schooled episode. It did really good. It brought up a lot of old memories for me, especially because every summer I would remember this because, like I've always said, when I went to school, it was my birthday. Then literally the next week, I'm going back to school. And it's always like, okay, this is really cool. But then in the back of your mind, you just know that no matter what you do, life's still going to suck down the road. It's not perfect by any means, but it is what it is. Still, it's not a bad choice. I mean, stuff has to happen. You can't plan everything out, and Lincoln realized that the hard way. And that was the main lesson in this, that you have to just roll with whatever's given to you. Not everything's perfect, but I don't know. I liked the episode. I thought it was really good. But let me know what your thoughts are, and let's get a little discussion going here. If you've seen it, if you haven't, the Loud House special, Schooled. Let me know what your thoughts are, and did it bring up like any old memories from you from middle school or going off to college or even high school, or does it just flat out just be a good episode? Let me know what you guys say. Let's get a discussion going in the comments, and until next time, I'm Andrew Rose, and this has been Andrew Discusses.